Welcome to Gifted Underachievers, the podcast for mid-level creatives with delusional ambitions. In this segment, James and I talk about whether there's any fiction out there that reflects the current male experience, or at least James's version of it. Single dad, trying to provide for his kids and work and have a life. Hope you enjoy.
You know what's interesting is the New York Times yesterday ran a story on how men aren't reading fiction.
Really?
Yeah.
Wonder why. Did they say why? Speculate?
They kind of speculate. I have to read it again to give you a very solid. But I was far more interested in the comments.
Oh, really?
I left the comments saying, hey, I'm a writer, and maybe I suck, but I'm over the threshold where I get considered.
Yeah.
But nobody wants to publish what I'm writing. And I am writing about the male experience, right? And
that's a good comment.
Lots of other people who are saying the same thing. And the other week, Monique and I were walking around downtown. We went to the bookstore.
Yeah.
And I'm dying for contemporary fiction that just, speaks to me.
Yeah.
As a guy, that's like,
there isn't anything.
Single parenting and there's nothing, absolute nothing. And so that's interesting. I'm reading these comments and there's lots and lots of other guys who are like, hey, I would love to read fiction, but they're not publishing fiction that I can give a shit about. And stuff that does is really old.
Exactly.
Nothing to do with today.
No.
Everything is like woman, or somebody some esoteric experience, or it's like saying I need to be in the Cormac McCarthy bandwagon, which I hate Cormac McCarthy. I do not. It's fine that other people do. He's a good writer, but I'm not into like massive violence. Like I tried to read one of his books.
Yeah.
And in like the first 20 pages, somebody's had their head shot off. This psychotic. And that's not,
Yeah, I read it for my MFA because we had we could create our own list, but one of my advisors recommended Cormac McCarthy. And although I can see his prose skills are really high, it's the same thing. There's vultures eating carrion on page 1, and I don't know any of the characters yet. And there's a boy getting raped in an outhouse. I'm like,
yeah, that's not what I'm here for, I have no interest in that. And it's funny because I used to have a real problem with this, like, maybe 2 decades ago, or maybe not that far back, but like Men's Journal used to be a really good outside magazine, and Men's Journal I used to like, and I subscribed. And because both of them were very outdoors oriented, and that kind of thing. But they always come up with these reading lists. And for men, always Cormac McCarthy. Like,
right.
Where they would have these lists like, you are not a man if you haven't done this. And like somewhere on that list would be read all of Cormac McCarthy's books. And it's like
Blood Meridian. Oh.
Yeah. It's like
let me ask you something. Yeah. So the only thing I can think of that's contemporary that is supposedly the male experience is genre stuff. Thrillers, but it's not the male experience. It's the superhero experience or the lad experience or whatever. Like it's not mysteries. It's the cop experience. They could be male or female, depending on what kind of procedural it is. So you're right. I cannot think even. Man, I'm thinking there's a couple of Irish writers who write from male perspectives, but it's one of them's gay, so he writes from gay male's perspective, which
there's lots of that.
Yeah. And the other one, I don't think he's written for a while. And then there's guys like God, I think his pen name is Benjamin Black. It's this Irish writer who writes, he's won the Booker and under his real name, and then he writes mystery series, and he's older. He's probably, mid to late boomer. And he's also writing about the alcoholic experience more than the male experience.
Yeah.
So it's weird.
Really, I'm like, I struggled with, when I think about my life, it's like single parenting, a daughter
Yeah.
with severe mental health, food issues, work. It's like all this stuff
Yeah.
that's like, somebody could write to speak to that. And
Yeah.
I am, but I'm not getting published.
Yeah.
And I know, I mean, I can't imagine I'm, the only one.
Yeah.
You know,
You're never alone, is my experience.
and another person commented and said, I did an MFA like 10 years ago or something like that. And he was saying that for every one guy, there's three women. And
Yeah.
then you look at who then gets to be acquisitions editors, and it's, women, 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 women,
Wow. Yeah.
which is fine, again, fine,
Mhm.
but they are interested in what they're interested in. So
Yeah.
yeah, there's a big missing piece. Well, probably when I'm 80, all of a sudden there's going to be like this flourishing, you know,
Fuck, you know,
or maybe I can
right?
drive it.
Cycles. Well, did you say you can drive it?
Yeah, so I guess my thing now is I'm going to try and drive it.
That makes total sense. I agree. There is a dearth of the male's perspective on day to day. You know, there's thrillers, there's mysteries. Those have tons of that, but these are superhumans. It's like Jack Reacher,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Well, and it's funny, so there's a lot of really good women's oriented mystery, right? So
Tons.
one of my favorites is Vera, on BritBox, and
Anne
it's
Cleves.
so good. And then Anne Cleves also wrote one about, it's called Shetland, I think,
Yes.
which has a male protagonist, which
I
is
love him.
they're great. And then there's this other woman who's writing more literary fiction, and she wrote this big famous book takes place in Maine, and it's named after the woman Olive Kittredge. Yeah,
Yeah.
but she's written some books that transcend. Like it's not, and I love those. Like there's one that I read of hers about a year ago, and it's about her and her husband, and I guess her husband has died or something, and she's trying to find this connection, and
Yeah.
it really it was good. It was really good,
Yeah.
right?
So it
And
transcends gender or
yeah, it's not a like girl story. You know what?
yeah, I hear what you're saying.
There's
Oh,
the one I tried to read that was a bit, made a big splash, and it's by Lily somebody or other.
oh,
Couldn't finish it. Uh,
really?
yeah,
Yeah.
and because it was just she stole the plot from Sex and the City.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
It was just like,
That's
it was.
not interesting. So, what about like guys like Richard Russo or is that just too old? They're not doing anything
It's
recent,
not
right?
contemporary.
Yeah, you're right.
And here's the thing is there's been a shift,
Mm,
right? And it's not like every male person's life has completely changed, but
yeah,
there is a growing number of men like me who have been single parents or are single parents,
yeah.
or, they're much more, it's less this, I get up and go to work and the woman in my life takes care of everything.
Of course, right? I don't know any guy who's had that experience.
Yeah. And so there's been this, I think I don't know if it's 30 years or 20 years or what, but
Mm,
it's very different. And I'm reading Michael Palin's journals,
mm.
right? And I've read the first one, which goes from 69 to 79, and I'm in the one that goes from 80 to like 89 or something.
Wow.
And I like it. Because, everything works for him.
Fuck.
You know what I mean? It's like one of these, he's had this life where he's like, I wanted to do humor and bum, 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 and I wanted to write a movie and bum, 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 kind of
Yeah,
thing. So,
yeah,
but it's also like his wife is home with the kids and
right.
he is off traveling around, going all over the place, doing Monty Python, da 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 da. He does
Yeah,
not have to worry about being a parent. He misses his family a lot. Like
right.
he's not a bad person or a bad,
Hmm.
but he does, that's not his job.
Feels like, "Ah, God, do I need to read about a bunch of people having affairs? But that's because I haven't read it. I like other Updike. I really do. I'm an Updike fan. I like his
Yeah.
voice. Yeah.
Yeah. I like Cheever's voice too, but and he captures what it was like in his moment, in his
Yeah.
time,
And you're going to capture that for our time. And I honestly think you can drive that to a degree. I mean, you don't have as a somebody who's submitting manuscripts, it's not like you have power to drive anything. You're just submitting
Yeah.
manuscripts, but we actually can help a little bit by talking about it as we are.
Yeah. Well, and maybe I should be more challenging in my query letters or, the cover letter.
Can't hurt.
Just be like, hey, nobody is talking about the contemporary life from a
Yeah,
male or a female perspective.
it's true. Yeah, it's all very, I don't know how to put it. We'll have to think about that. What do I think it is? Because it's a really broad statement to say it's all very about all books. It can't be
Yeah.
said, but I have writers that I just love. I'll read anything they write. And I read a lot of genre fiction too, so that's reflecting contemporary experience more than literary fiction in my.
Yeah. And then it layers on top, whatever, if it's romance, the romance, or if it's
Yeah,
history. But they capture more like the thing that I love about Vera is one, the character, but two, she is navigating all this other stuff that's real. Same with Shetland, and same with like all the really good mystery shows that I like.
Yeah.
It's these characters, it's like a mystery, which is very not anything I would have experienced. But it's people who are living an experience that I definitely can relate to.
Totally.
Thanks so much for listening to Gifted Underachievers, the podcast for mid-level creatives with delusional ambitions. We would love to hear how we're doing, so please leave a comment, join our chat page, or send us an email to giftedunderachievers@substack.com. You can find us on iTunes, Spotify, and anywhere else you listen to podcasts. Hope you have a great creative week.